What are you doing?
I'm making a long distance phone call. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Do you want to say what we're doing?
Johnny Mnemonic.
The M is silent.
Which one?
Tell everyone why you love this movie so much.
I love it because it's silly and it's cyberpunk. And I like cyberpunk.
Do you want to give a brief description of what cyberpunk is?
Yes. It's hard to give like a brief description. Now, cyberpunk is patient, cyberpunk is kind. It is neither of those. It's usually dystopian future type settings. There's always corporations. It kind of seems like
running everything.
Yeah, it always seems like there's no government anymore. Government is corporations. A heavy emphasis on the integration of people and technology. Also a lot of like class disparity stuff comes from that because the more you can afford to put in your body, the better you can be. Not always, but a lot of neon and 80s, 90s fashion, because that was about the time that it started to become a thing. I think the reason we're doing this movie kind of is because a couple years ago, I asked you to make me a birthday beer. And you were like, well, what do you want? And I said, I want a cyberpunk beer. So we kind of decided like what that meant in a beer. And my main inspiration for that beer was I wanted it to be like, oh, like Johnny Mnemonic, like the bright, silly kind of cyberpunk.
Can you give us a short summary of Johnny Mnemonic?
More notes. It's set in the distant future of 2021. I think like 50% of people have this disease called nerve attenuation syndrome or something like a NAS. The black shakes. Some people from a pharmaceutical company called Pharmacom hire a data courier named Johnny Mnemonic, or just Johnny, to smuggle some data, because that's what they do. They smuggle data around. So Johnny gets a bad case of synaptic seepage.
Poor Johnny.
Itchy. Love Johnny. Don't get synaptic seepage. So the Yakuza go after him because they want that data.
Of course.
Well, I haven't mentioned yet that Johnny is only Keanu Reeves, the internet's darling.
I'll have you know that we both watched the E3 live stream for Cyberpunk 2077, and when Keanu Reeves popped in, we probably almost died.
So those Yakuza bust in, and they kill everybody except Johnny, who goes off on the run, and then the movie goes from there. And I don't want to really spoil anything.
Well, I mean, what's his goal? His goal is to offload the...
He's got to get the data out of his head because it's seeping, and it's unpleasant.
What notes you got? Do you have flavor notes?
Oh, no, I don't have any, like, flavor notes because I was kind of going off of what we did previously and then thinking about what we could do differently. I remember my, like, insistence on it being as neon in color as possible.
Yeah.
That was a challenge because it's hard to get, like, a really bright color sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard to get a blue color.
Because I remember that was my first dream, as I was like, can we make it neon blue? And then it actually ended up coming out, we were going for like purple, I think, and it came out like this great bright pink. That was a sour, right? Yeah, I kind of wanted it to have like a zap, you know. I was going for the whole neon thing, like pow, pow. Yeah, those are my very official notes. You were just like, I want to be neon, I want to go pew.
One of the things that I also thought was pretty important in a cyberpunk beer is that it would be artificially enhanced. Because that's kind of a big thing in cyberpunk. So I had added candy sugar because it doesn't add any flavor or anything, but it's a way to artificially enhance your alcohol content. So, okay, we already have an idea of a beer that we've already made. So what would you like to do to maybe change it?
One thing is, I've never really been a big fan of mint. Like whenever I see mint and stuff, it's dumb. Like, it always makes me think of toothpaste. I'm just like, toothpaste, gross. I just tried this beer the other day that had mint in it because everything else about it sounded so good. And it was actually like a really awesome addition to it. It was like lime and ginger and mint. And all together, those were awesome. So I almost think like adding mint could be a cool addition. Cool. It might help add to the zap.
Okay, so what style do you want? Do you want it to be a Berliner? Do you want it to be a Goza?
I just had a funny idea of how we could tie saltiness of like a Goza into it being specifically a Johnny Mnemonic beer.
Yeah.
And not just a general Cyberpunk beer.
Oh. I think I know what you're thinking. Yeah.
Spoilers on that 1995 movie, everyone.
Yeah.
There's a dolphin named Jones who like hacks. He's super smart. The Navy did experiments on him or something.
Yeah, he was a super secret Navy dolphin.
Yeah. So he's awesome. So if you ever want to see Ice-T talk to a dolphin, this is your movie. Oh, I wonder about the salt.
The salt's gonna be just fine.
You think?
The previous beer was a Goza too, so we had that lime leaf sea salt in it.
We did.
Yeah. So there you have some lime. Mm-hmm. You have the salt. Cool. So Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a Goza. It's gonna have funky colors. It's gonna have sea salt for Jones the dolphin. It's gonna have limes and a little bit of mint, and I think that'll be really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All we gotta do now is brew it.
In time for my birthday.
Oh, hopefully. I hope so.
I think so.
We started this brew day at night. The souring process I use takes a while, so I prepared everything 32 hours before brew day. This beer has a very simple grain bill, 4 pounds white wheat and 4 pounds German Pilsner malt. If you'd like to see how we make sour beer, click here. I use Falconer's Flight here because it has a nice lemon lime flavor and aroma that I thought would be great for this beer. The first edition was half an ounce at 60 minutes remaining. Now we're going to boost this beer with a full pound of clear Belgian candy sugar. The clear sugar adds almost no flavor and kicks up the alcohol a full percent. Make sure to stir that candy sugar. It takes a while to dissolve and can just end up sitting on the bottom of your kettle if you aren't thorough. Our next addition was a 1/4 ounce of cracked coriander with 10 minutes remaining. I like to put my coriander in a plastic sandwich bag and gently crack it with a meat tenderizer before adding it to the kettle. Now this is where we add the turtle food. This is a combination of a lot of things: a 1/4 ounce of Falconer's Flight, half an ounce of pink Himalayan salt, an ounce of roughly chopped mint, and the zest of 3 limes. We add these as late as we can to help preserve their aroma, so we added these with 5 minutes remaining. The most important step here is to completely forget your main ingredient and then add it later in a panic when you've realized you've already drained half of the wort. I should have added this full ounce of dried butterfly pea flowers with 5 minutes remaining, but as you can see, everything turned out just fine.
Welcome back. Yeah, sorry it's been so long. These last few months have been very busy. Yeah. There's been about 17 birthdays.
Yeah.
All of which we were required to be out and about and not brewing beer and not making videos. So hopefully you'll all forgive us. It looks very dark, like a stout or a porter, but it's a trick. I'll pour it a little slower this time.
Foam is almost purple.
This foam won't quit. 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
It's like a laser beam straight in a glass.
It's like almost hazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that's coming from.
The haziness is from the wheat.
So it's kind of cool because it's sort of like Cyberpunk noir, you know, like it's got the haze in the dark.
The hazy neon streets of
the
Night City.
The you know, like you have the bright light coming through the haze. Like that's a very like. Yeah.
Better strap on your trodes and jack in, because we're going to the flavor matrix. Cool. Other than how really cool it looks, like let's take a sniff. You want to take a sniff? I can tell you what I think it smells like.
Well, we put mint in it, so I smell that mint.
Yeah.
And it's rather what do the kids say?
Dank. Bracing.
No, I like that.
Yeah, so I initially brewed it with over an ounce of chopped mint, and it tasted really minty, like fresh out of the pot. But like after it fermented, almost all of that mint flavor had kind of gone away, because pretty much the CO2 that's formed pushes all the flavors out. So that's why they usually say don't dry hop before it's fermented and everything because you lose a lot of that nice aroma. Lesson learned. So I went and I got another ounce-ish of mint leaves, gave them a rough chop, and put them on a little mesh screen that I put inside of the keg, so it's actually sitting in there,
right in the keg.
Directly touching the beer. What do you think? What do you taste?
Mint for sure.
Yeah.
Pow! I do like that though because I wanted it to be like an electrical zap, and it is very like.
But you've got that mint right up front, and then you taste the sourness, and then there's that nice saltiness underneath that kind of blends everything together.
That's definitely the layer. What's making it purple again?
Oh, the color comes from a flower called butterfly pea.
Right.
PEA,
Yeah,
by
not
the way.
butterfly urine.
No. Wow.
Good lacing.
Yeah, really nice lacing, nice little bubbles. I'm really proud of this beer. It took a long time.
I like it. It's very drinkable because the flavors in it are refreshing and it's not heavy. Some sours, they can feel kind of heavy because they're so sour, but it's not as sour to begin with. And then I feel like it's kind of thin, like not in a bad way, in a good way. I like that.
Does it match your love of the birthday beer?
I like it because I feel like it's different than the birthday beer. Because I know,
for sure.
I think we were worried about just recreating the birthday beer again, but it was it's different. Because we wanted it to be more specific to Johnny Mnemonic. So, yeah, I think it's good. So you got the pollution haze of the far distant future of 2021. But I actually like how dark and purple it came out because, the name of the disease was the black shakes. We should just call it that.
That's a really great idea. It really does just look like Dimetap. I think this beer was a great success. Captured all the things that we were looking for. It was also a learning experience because I've never used mint before. Right. Learned that you definitely need to dry hop your mint or put it in a keg. Like always, we're going to put the recipe in the description if you want to brew it. Take a picture, tag us on Instagram. Do what you want to do. You okay? You want to do another one?
Sure.
Like,
what are you doing?
I'm making a long distance phone call.
Of course. Exactly what it looks like.